My name is Michaeline Friedenberg, and I'm the President and CEO of Life Perspectives, coming to you from our national headquarters in San Diego.
I am Nikki Berry. I am an assistant professor at St. Martin's University. I received my PhD in nursing from Washington State University, and my background is primarily in trauma and operating room nursing.
Hi, I'm Christina Wilson. I'm Center Director at Hope Life Center, Wausau, Wisconsin, and I'm responsible also for the Abortion Recovery Program.
I'm Maria Brand. I am a professor in the Department of Communication Studies at IUPUI in Indianapolis, and my research focuses on health communication, particularly communication surrounding bad news delivery and reproductive loss.
Hi, my name is Chuck Warwick. I live in St. Petersburg, Florida.
I'm Dr. Jennifer Butte. I am an associate professor of communication studies at IUPUI in Indianapolis.
I am Jordan Rinalder, and I work at Pregnancy Resources of Abilene in Texas. And I am the licensed counselor on staff.
My sister's first child was diagnosed at 20 weeks gestation with anencephaly, and she asked me to be her advocate and her resource during this time. She wanted to carry her daughter to term and donate her organs. And I thought, as an operating room nurse, surely I could help her with this. But I ran into one roadblock after another and was amazed by how few resources were available to those who are experiencing perinatal and reproductive loss, and thought, if it's this difficult for me with my medical background to find information and resources, how is the average individual going to find the care that they need and the resources they need?
I had 2 abortions as a young woman and didn't realize the devastation that those abortions brought with them. Over time, I began to understand that I needed to look at the impact of those abortions that included things like extreme anger. It included depression, as well as a host of other relational issues. And I honestly did not know what was going on. And so there came a point where I needed to reach out for some help.
So with my first pregnancy, I experienced some vaginal bleeding at about 7 weeks. When I was in the ER, I term that I use is that I met my nemesis. Like I met this woman who was an OBGYN resident who came in, looked at my chart, saw that I was from out of town on a professional conference, and simply stated, this is not a viable pregnancy. We can go upstairs and finish this abortion right now and take care of this so you can get on with your life.
I went through 2 abortions, one in high school, one in college. And the one in high school I fully paid for and supported. The one in college was forced on me. I didn't have a choice. And I ended up through both situations having PTSD.
My own pregnancy loss was a difficult intersection between both my personal life and my professional life. So while this sort of loss can be complicated for every person, and of course is dependent on each person's situation, what was kind of tricky for me is I had been studying issues of infertility and pregnancy loss before I experienced loss myself. And frankly, the only reason I had any understanding of what to expect from a miscarriage was because I had interviewed other women who had been through that process. And so that really forced me to reflect on what we do and don't talk about when it comes to pregnancy loss, something that is such an incredibly common experience, and yet we have so little conversation about it.
Let me introduce to you Life Perspectives to those who may be new to us. Life Perspectives is recognized as the expert in reproductive grief care. We provide training, research, and expertise to health professionals and other care providers who offer support to those who've been impacted by reproductive loss, including miscarriage and abortion. We also offer a safe place for those personally impacted at miscarriagehurts.com and abortionchangesyou.com. Our goal is to assure those impacted by pregnancy loss that we will remember them and we will remember their children with them. We will follow this theme throughout as we discuss the 3 pillars of service that Life Perspectives is known for. Let's begin with grief care education. If you're new to Life Perspectives, I'd like you to know that one of our most important focuses is on doctors, nurses, and other caregivers, including mental health professionals and pregnancy center staff. We train these caregivers to recognize the grief that can surround reproductive loss and to help patients and clients cope with these painful experiences. We take pride in providing caregivers with our gold standard of care, which includes the very best evidence-based protocols. Along these lines, we received exciting news in 2020. We earned our national accreditation to offer continuing education to nurses throughout the United States. This accreditation is not only an endorsement of Life Perspectives best practices, it also makes us a more attractive partner for healthcare organizations. Let's return to our guests to hear what they have to say about the impact of our grief care education.
The education available to nurses is not based on evidence, and it is not based in the literature or on science. And that's terrifying to me. So when I saw this education opportunity through Life Perspectives, I thought, ooh, I have never seen this come up as a topic before, and I wanted to see what was being offered by the organization.
I just came back to my work being able to feel equipped to really understand the language, to understand the perspective to take when meeting and sitting with these individuals who are suffering and in pain. Oftentimes those clients don't have anybody else in their life who's speaking to them, directly about what they're going through. And I felt like I could be that person.
The thing that I appreciate about Life Perspectives is that they're able to help us and providers with the vocabulary and the training that will assist us in helping other people.
People are in pain because of reproductive loss. And the ability to change someone's life and help someone recover, find peace where they can't, is what my mission is all about. I really want to help other people succeed. I don't want people to go through what I've done, what I had to do and what I had to go through to get to where I am today and having joy in my life. And so Life Perspectives opens that dialogue to be able to do that.
It feels really honoring to be able to be that person to walk through that process with them, and knowing that it's not something that even their closest friends and family are doing often. And so helping break that stigma even in those short times that I get to be with them.
I will tell you, it's such a sensitive topic, and for people that have been through it, to have somebody like Michaeline and just her way and the way that she handles herself, and it's so gentle, but yet so, I can't even explain it, but she just had a way of reaching right down into my personal feelings. I mean, I really sensed what she was saying, and I could relate so well to it that it really, as I sat there, I had goosebumps.
Thank you for those powerful stories and kind words. We are proud to say that in 2020 alone, Life Perspectives trained over 2,100 healthcare providers. It's important to note that each care provider trained by Life Perspectives in turn serves dozens, if not hundreds, of men and women impacted by reproductive loss each year. So you can just imagine the powerful impact that each training has in spreading comfort and hope. Let's move on to our second pillar, data collection and research. Data collection and research might not sound exciting, but as you'll hear from our special guests, it is more valuable and more emotional than you would ever think.
The healthcare team cannot take care of parents if they don't know how. And if the textbooks are full of myths and not based on evidence, then how on earth can we expect the healthcare team to really provide the care that parents need? So the fact that Life Perspectives is evidence-based and they are in the research, they are conducting their own research, they're partnering with experts across the nation, that right there is absolutely worth every second of my time.
Life Perspectives has so much that's based on research that as a licensed professional, combining those two pieces of the work is so important that it just brings a sense of confidence, the friendship and the relationship that I've been able to build with some of the staff members to where I can reach out to them and ask them for, ideas or help in an area. And then for our center, just being able to have our entire staff on the same page, to have resources that we can hand out and we know that they are vetted and like valid and just they're so there's the credentials behind it.
I think an organization like Life Perspective is much needed because research looking at ways that we can improve this sort of communication does not tend to be funded by larger sort of government agencies. And so having organizations like Life Perspectives that are committed to supporting and disseminating cutting edge research in this area, I think fills a huge gap, not only in our understanding, but just in the resources available for people who are coping with this sort of loss.
I remember looking through all of the resources that were available to women and care providers and support persons. And I was blown away, honestly. I was thinking like, this is amazing. Like, this is what I wish I would have had. This is what women need and what people who are supporting women need to have.
As you heard, research is a critical part of providing compassionate care to those impacted by reproductive loss. Life Perspectives is at the forefront of creating innovative research, including our current collaboration with researchers at the University of Texas and IUPUI to develop a reproductive grief screening tool. As part of that effort, we just got word that our second research paper was accepted for publication. As you can imagine, each of these projects cost tens of thousands of dollars, yet their impact cannot be measured. Now it's time to talk about our final pillar, healing resources. Our third and last pillar is our healing resources. We offer printed materials, jewelry, and other items to help men and women process reproductive loss. We also offer two healing websites, miscarriagehurts.com and abortionchangesyou.com, which received 63,000 visits last year. These sites offer a path to healing, including a place to anonymously post personal stories. The stories posted on these sites are often so raw and painful that it is difficult to read them. Although these stories are very painful, they serve as a daily reminder of how many people are hurting and how critically important it is to provide people a safe place to begin healing and learn that they are not alone. This is true for the people who visit our websites as well as for our special guests.
We attribute different meanings to different words, and to have an organization that is sensitive to the meaning that words can have and the emotions they can evoke is very important, because so many people who have experienced perinatal loss, without anyone meaning to, often the words that people use as they try to comfort them are actually very damaging.
Using the Abortion Changes You resource, that provided me an opportunity to really look at what had happened and the complex mix of emotions. And so I was very thankful to be able to do that in a healthy way And to understand that I wasn't alone, that the feelings and emotions that I had were shared by many others.
Especially for men, because a lot of men are suffering and are hurting. And people may not recognize that, why somebody's acting out the way they are, because I certainly did in my story.
There's a lot of resources, but we feel very strongly that we want to stick within, the Life Perspectives resources when we're giving to clients, and we feel confident in it. And then knowing that when a client leaves our center with those resources, that I'm not worried about what they're going to find. I'm not worried about what that's going to look like, because it's just so well done.
The main thing sincerely for me is that ripple effect. And we can share just that card very quickly. And that way people will reach, they can get to the help that they need when it's convenient for them and when they're ready.
Now that we've heard these inspiring stories from our special guests, let me take a moment to ask you a question. What does our Forget-Me-Not theme mean to you? While you're thinking about that, let's hear how our guests answered that question.
Yeah, the theme Forget-Me-Not, when I read that, it actually did bring a client to mind that I recently got to sit with. She had come for an ultrasound here at our pregnancy center, and she was so relieved and so excited, yet she was still very anxious, because just a year ago, her dates almost even lined up to the year that she had been through a miscarriage. And she had not taken any pictures from our ultrasound appointment from that previous pregnancy, and she hadn't really talked about it with anybody. And so now in this current pregnancy, she was feeling very overwhelmed, very nervous, and still grieving, but had never gotten to process that grief. And so I thought of her with Forget-Me-Not, because I was able to sit with her and help bring attention and bring just the joy of celebrating the life that she had lost. And that just made me think of Forget-Me-Not. You're like, the client is not forgotten in that lost, or in the loss that she experienced, but also that baby that she lost was not someone to forget. And we were able to print her pictures from the ultrasound a year before and give that to her, and give her a box that we have that is for moms who are going through a miscarriage. And it was just so healing and so cool to be a part of that and help her feel a little bit of sense of just not closure, but being able to process even that next step of healing as she enters into now welcoming this new child into her life. And so Forget-Me-Not, I just thought she had felt like that was forgotten, and now I hope that she knows that that is something to celebrate, even though she never had the chance to meet that baby.
I absolutely love this year's theme of Forget Them Not for a number of reasons. Number one, when you have abortion in your past, you want to be able to remember your child in a healthy way. And that can be difficult at times in society for a number of reasons. And so this idea of remembering with people, weeping when they weep, rejoicing when they rejoice. Life Perspectives is providing a way on a broad scale to help others remember.
So I think the theme is perfect, and I can relate well to it on every level. So, because I've never forgotten.
The Forget-Me-Not theme, when I saw that, it was very emotional to me, because one of the things that every parent has ever told me is their greatest fear is that their child is going to be forgotten. And perinatal loss and reproductive loss is so silent. So few people know that 1 in 4 pregnancies is impacted by perinatal loss. If they don't know, how can they remember? And having other people know, having other people remember is going to be so meaningful.
Thank you for your openness and sharing your stories with us. We are sorry for your losses and for the pain that you experienced. We are also humbled and grateful that Life Perspectives was a part of your healing journey.
Life Perspectives gives a voice to these individuals experiencing perinatal loss and reproductive loss. And that right there is one of the first steps in breaking the silence which surrounds it, which is a huge part of my research, is break that silence, let parents talk, let people know, raise that awareness.
I'm really thankful that Sandra and Michaeline found me, found my research, and that we were able to forge this relationship. This collaboration has been so rewarding, and I'm just so honored and so proud to be associated with Life Perspectives.
I love you guys.
I think the work of Life Perspectives is invaluable. And I can say the only regret I have about their mission is that I don't think they existed, or at least I didn't know about them when I went through my own loss.
We celebrate Life Perspectives in our center, and we are so about it. It's been so important to us.